Why is congregational development different to any other leadership training that your church may do or that you may have gone on as it relates to ministry?
I think it gives an embodiment to a holistic gospel.
I've been reflecting on what it means to have an incarnate Christ. This is how God, who was once just a spiritual being and transcendent, embodied flesh to allow us to understand not only the spiritual, but the physical implications of the gospel. When I reflect on the incarnate Christ, I see a Christ that not only used his mouth and his voice in prayer,
But used his mouth and his voice to speak truth to power. Not only did he use his hands to heal the sick,
but he used these same hands to physically take down structures and systems, both internally and externally, that was contrary to the gospel and the work of his Father.
the work of justice is the work of faith.
Congregational development will give you the tools and the space to begin to more deeply integrate theology that fuels action within your church culture.
Develops leaders that not only leads to multiplication, but expands your church's involvement in community, both internally and externally, and that goes beyond service provision.
Ultimately, it empowers your church to regain its prophetic voice, not a voice that is solely focused on foretelling, but a voice that is, like Jesus, radical, transformational, and holistically embodies the gospel.
The Black Church has been involved in some important campaigns over the years in the UK. From the Strangers into Citizens rally, where 20,000 people gathered in Trafalgar Square, to the Nehemiah 5 challenge, that was the initial campaign which successfully called on the UK government to put a cap on the total cost of credit. This shows the power that the Black Church has, and learning to organise that power through deeply embedding the methodology of community organising with theological reflection and prayer in congregations will not only allow us to be more effective in our communities, but amplify our prophetic voice to stand against injustice at all levels. So let's hear from a leader who's taken part in congregational development. What was your experience like in congregational development?
Coming to the development, congregational development training. I mean, that's because for me, it was an opportunity where I would come out of the church, come out of whatever we are doing, and would sit down and discuss. People would give me ideas on what I could do. I would discuss the problems or the challenges that we're having, and the input of the people around me, the input of the teachers was actually invaluable. And our project became such a success because of that. And we developed sort of relationships as well, which up to today we still have. And I believe that I would really recommend any other pastor, because I think we were internally focused, but this has broadened our view. Now we are working with people outside. And I think it's time the church comes out of the four walls and begin to make an impact in our communities. I was saying, we need to impact our communities with the love of Jesus, but it means we have to start getting out there. But sometimes you want to do things, but you're not even sure how to do it. And so I got those tools when I went for congregational development. It just began to put me into perspective. Things came into context, and as a result, we were able to forge ahead with the input and the support that we're getting. So I would really recommend pastors to go.
Congregational development is rooted in the methodology of community organising. What has community organising training taught you?
That was a turning point for me, because I, being a Pentecostal church pastor, we majored more on what is happening in the church, but not outside. And in this meeting, I mean, what I took out from that meeting was, if you don't get to the table where the decisions are being made, you are, if you are not on the table, you're on the menu. So we needed to get to the table, because within our communities, there are needs that concern our community. There are issues that are actually challenging our members. And if we don't, get to the table where these decisions are being made concerning these issues, then we are not going anywhere. No amount of praying would help us, but we needed to get to the table and be part of the decision making.
What are some of the things that your church is doing as a result of going on congregational development?
We've done the football outreach, which we're doing, like every fortnight until the time that we went into COVID. We have also done what we call the annual fun day, where we bring the whole community together. One of the things that we want is bringing unity into the community. Then when one boy was killed, that's when we started. And then the community, we could feel the community really needed something to be done, especially for the youth. And that's why we ended up with the football outreach, which went very well. The reason why we started the football outreach was because there was so much antisocial behavior in this Marks Gate where we are working. So we really we've started that. Also now we are doing a listening campaign in this same Marks Gate, and we are hoping, and this time we are getting different. Before we mainly focused only on the youth. And that's because what we found, the youth, they've got no meaning. And the reason they end up doing the things that they do, because they have nothing to do. So now he's trying to find purpose. As we are listening to these youth, we are going and listening to them to find out exactly what is it that they desire, what activities they want to see, what courses they want to do. So, and we are now interacting with the parents as well. So it's just broadened the whole thing, and we are believing that when we finish this, it will lead us, because that was our original intention when we went into this community, find the need and meet it. And this campaign, listening campaign that we are doing now, is for us to be able to find out what are the needs now that are within the community, and then we'll see how we can meet those needs. So now as a church, in the community, we are known, and people are more receptive to us now, even when we want to talk. Unlike the first time, they were not interested. And I suppose maybe that's the thing. We want to do things before we have built relationships. And you want to think for people, but you can't. Thank you.
If you would like to register for Congregational Development, please email our coordinator, Charnel, at charnelb@theology-center.org. We look forward to hearing from you.
This programme is run by the William Seymour Project, the Pentecostal arm of the Centre of Theology and Community. We aim to engage and equip Black and Pentecostal churches and leaders to challenge injustice in their communities through community organising, invoking a public, practical Pentecostalism.